Okay, what's going on, boys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to go over the tactics. As I said, we're dialing back the tactics now, bringing it back towards FIFA 23 now. Normally at this time of the year, I try to go for a balanced layout, and I think at Foot Champs, there's nothing really to play for anymore. So this is the time now where you can dial back your tactics, change it, because the game's going to change, whether you like it, whether you're not. But the basics, the fundamentals, the core formations, they never change. The 4-2-3-1s, the 4-1-2-1-2 second variations, and the 4-4-2s. And before I do get on the tactics, of course, as usual, this video is sponsored by Patreon series, patreon.com/NealGuides. We're still making videos, and we're going to make videos in preparation for 23 and 23 as well, including nerfing of slide tackles, defending, and auto tackle defending. I want to explain to you, for example, content like that. And we're also going to go over the formations, playing formations on balance tactics. When FIFA 23 does come along, you can get right into the play. So what adjustments have we made? We're going to start going backwards this time. There's going to be some explaining and reasons why. So 4-4-2, it's always one of the best formations in FIFA. By the way, you could question that last week, can use either one. You can use either one you want. If you're going to use both CDMs, cut passing lanes, cover center, CDM for both of them, pretty much the same. The tactics, as I said, we're trying to bring it back neutrally. Normally, in terms of attacking formations, you always have much wider width anyway. You may activate team press yourself manually, but normally you'll have a build-up play, almost like fast ball play. And I always go for long ball. Long ball is a good take, and 35 width. To be honest, you can leave the 4-4-2 at this, because you see what happens is with the 4-4-2 is you can make it balanced or attacking as you want to. Because we're kind of going into like more of a, as I said to you last week, this is the 4-4-2 for all aspects of the game, not just when you're losing. We've kept it like that. The instructions are basically the same. This is basically your core bread and butter 4-4-2. I explained to you why everyone should be on comeback and defense last week. Don't forget, you want to defend together as a unit, and it's very, very important. And you will see this, especially the prominence of the 4-4-2, I think, in the first week or so. Expect yourself to be changing between a 4-4-2, 4-1-2-1-2, and a 4-2-3-1. You might lean towards the 4-4-2 a bit more, because most players won't know how to play the game properly. So what they will do, they'll naturally go to a more defensive system. So two strikers could be effective. Then we have the 4-1-2-1-2. What we're going to do, I'm going to explain to you what we've done to this. Bring it back as much as you can to about the 50s. What the idea is, we want to eventually get to a stage where we're about 50-50. That's where you want it to be. And we want the build-up play and the chance creation to be balanced as well. From my understanding, from reading the picture notes, there hasn't really been much change in terms of tactics. And there's a few things that have changed in custom tactics as a whole, but that is about it. There's nothing major. There's no, for example, like complete new system like in FIFA 18 or like with FIFA 20. Was it FIFA 20? Yeah, FIFA 20 with 21. You saw, of course, the build-up play and all these aspects. So there's nothing major changed in terms of that. Like, for example, slow build-up play, it wasn't there the year before. But I keep long ball, because long ball is still very, very effective. What we're going to do is we're going to dial that down when we go back to more of a neutral system. And chance creation balance is still very good. People always say to me, oh, do you have to play direct passing? You know, people don't realize, but balance is kind of the best of all aspects. You know, direct passing, yes, if you're going for the meta passing down the wing, cutting back on the inside, it's the best way of scoring. If you ask me, I still prefer forward runs. I don't care what pros they're using. Most of you guys probably still prefer forward runs as well, especially on new gen. I mean, old gen. Old gen I prefer forward runs, new gen more direct passing, and that depends on the defensive line. Will that be the same thing next year? We don't know. So that's why you leave it on balance. Balance basically has them all together, but the AI makes that decision for you. But you can always do the L1 triggers yourself. So long ball is still going to help you push the ball going forward. It's going to help you in a build-up play. But balance is going to help you in that final third. And I think, as I said, you know, I have very, very balanced tactics. This is not the correct layout, by the way, of the plays, in case you're wondering what on earth is going on here. It's like this. And then what I do is I put a tile just over here. And then I put Tecatito over there. That's basically the way it is. Nothing funky going on. What you can do, as I said, the left back and right back, you can put them on join the attack. If you wanted to, you can generally use that. What we're going to do is bring this back on stay back and overlap, because as I said, we want to get used to using them very much naturally. Always put them on overlap. That's a key thing in a 4-1-2-1-2. Don't leave this on balance. Don't leave it on inverted, unless you have a specific playstyle, which is very rare. But those inverted left back and right backs, you might as well just use a left mid or right mid. Personally speaking, I would never even use a 4-1-2-1-2 second variation unless you're using them in a specific way. It's going to be wide to double up down the wing. But yeah, just leave everything. And what I'd recommend is just go towards more of just a pure stay back while attacking system. Because people ask me about the because this is the 4-1-2-1-2 that I released the other day. People asking me, oh no, what is the formation going to be different? Because don't forget, in these tactics we're working our way back to more of a neutral state. So stay back for both the left centre mid and the right centre mid. As you can see, we're going to very, very balanced tactics now. You know, we got the striker stay central, stay forward, get into the box and come back in defence. Stay back while attacking, should I say, for both the left and right centre mid. Nothing funky going. You can see what's going on, the pattern of play here. Now, the reason why we have 2-4-2-3-1s, people always ask me this question, is because you need one defensive 4-2-3-1, I believe, and one attacking one. 4-2-3-1 is basically like a 4-4-2, except for you have a cam behind the striker. The way I play it, though, the 4-2-3-1, is actually a 4-4-1-1. So what I do is I put the striker on stay forward and stay central. You might remember that. Even like if you watch my tactics videos every single year, and I can probably even guarantee you, when the next FIFA comes out, you're gonna see stay forward. Unless I test it out and I do some change and I realize it's something different, it's always gonna be like that. And if you're wondering why, it's because it just works so well. I can't really explain it to you, but you see most players when they play, whether they mean it or not, they don't actually realize that most of the time when they have two strikers together, they have no one in that cam area linking up play. And that's where the biggest gaps are in between, as you can see, in between these two players and these two players. So that gap is quite big. So that's why the 42, a lot of people, when the game comes out, they like to use it. And also, the lamb and the ram, they tuck in a bit closer. So I always have two variations of the 43 on every single time the game comes out. This is what I do. So I'll have an attacking one. Before we had these on balance, we're going to put them back on come back in defense. Now, you're going to remember these. If you have a good memory, you remember I did this when the game came out as well. This is solely so you don't get doubled up. When the game comes out, these guys are going to be either on balance to come back in defense. They're not going to be on stay forward. I can almost guarantee you that. So put them both on that. And both CDMs, as usual, cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, cover center, and left back and right back, stay back and overlap. Get rid of the conservative for now. Because as I said, conservative is really, in my opinion, the better option. Because when you leave them unbalanced, people don't realize, but sometimes your right backs, they push up when they shouldn't, and then the ball can come in behind. I want them to always just sit back. I'd rather opponent get the ball and I can run after him and cut him off there, than step forward and I lose the ball and I'm left with dust and you easy cut back and it's an easy goal. But we're going to get rid of conservative now, just so we get used to the game. Because a lot of people have been playing conservative since the game came out, since I advised you. But you're not used to, sometimes you're thought about making that mistake. So you're not really used to recovering if your fullback makes that mistake. So everything's virtually the same. The tactics that is very, very neutral. 50-50 this time. Long ball, balanced and 50. This is still a very, very good tactic. I even still use this now, by the way. But if you're part of my Patreon series, stay tuned for a video coming up to that one. And then we have the more defensive 4-2-3-1. Now, there's something we're going to do, a change we're going to make. I was considering bringing the 4-3-3 back. I'm debating whether you bring it in now because I think it's going to be a bit too defensive. So I'll say a week before 23 comes out, then I'll do it. But what we want to do here is we just want to dial these back, leave it as it is, build up play, slow build up play. I think this would be the biggest game changer for a lot of players. There's a couple of things I want to mention with this because I gave this out to a couple of people just to give some insight. With slow build up play, the problem is a lot of you guys are used to using long ball because of the L1 triggers that naturally occur. So the players, they kind of move forward on their own. Yes, you can have get in behind, but especially in a 4-2-3-1, you haven't got those cams on get it behind like you would do, for example, naturally in a 4-2-3-1. You can put the striker to get it behind. You don't have that in a 4-2-3-1. So a lot of people are being just used to using long ball. And when you slow build up play, it's kind of going backwards. But that's what we want to do. We want to force you out of your comfort zone. Because if I just use balanced as well, balanced, okay, look, fine. You're still going to make runs. You got to do it yourself. But I'd rather you have one extreme where the game's making runs for you, and then one extreme on the other end where the game is coming closer to you and you got to push those players going forward. So it's done deliberately. There's not another reason for it. It's just done deliberately. It's not a change made for no reason. It's because if I leave this unbalanced, then people will be like, okay, this is too defensive, and then this one is defensive. So I'm trying to make this more attacking with AI assisting you, and making this one purely dependent on yourself as a user. So get used to slow build up play, get used to the L1 triggers doing the 1-2s, because this is the thing, especially with footies and all these top tier players, you're just used to these players with good attacking awareness making the runs naturally. Are you doing it? If you look at yourself in your gameplay, ask yourself, are you actually doing L1 triggers yourself? Are you doing the 1-2s yourself as much as you should be? Are you using the butterfly wings every single time? even myself, I get lazy with long ball. That's what I just wanted to say in terms of that. Now the width, we're going to bring this up. Is it making it more attacking? No, it's because on a defensive formation, you just want to be a bit more wider. That way you can distribute the ball from lamb to ram, like left mid and right mid, sprint at 65. So going up is not making us more attacking. We are going to reduce the players in the box to 3. People find this a bit too defensive, but it depends. I don't cross the ball in. If you still cross the ball in, feel free to leave us on 5. But I would say bring it back to 3 anyway. You can get used to this on a defensive set. And as usual, everyone's just on comeback and offense here. Even these guys, what I do is I leave them on balanced like this on these guys. Now, what you can for the most defensive players is you can leave them both on cut pass lanes. As I said, you can always still push a player forward with an L1 trigger or 1-2. There's no restriction on that. It's just that the guys don't move forward themselves. And that is why we're going to get rid of conservative, as I mentioned in that situation. Leave that there. And that is why the other CDM does not have get forward, because you kind of want to let yourself do it yourself as opposed to letting the game do it. Because I'm going to tell you now, when the game comes out and you haven't got these players, you are going to struggle. Now, the question is, do you change your team? No. These players are cracked. You know, for example, Cornet on 5 chemistry, 84 chem. I don't even care because he's that good. You don't even need a chemistry star on him. People think, do I need a chem boost on this guy? Marginal difference? No, because he's still so good. I have to get rid of him. Do you change to a gold team? Not this year. People have been asking me about this question. For those who remember me, you probably remember my 15k team. I used to play with a very cheap team for years, and I used to love foot champs for the 15k team. 20-0 was always, let's try to get that, and I used to always be one off or whatever like that. Sometimes we get it, but you'll verse the top tier players and the pro players. Some of you guys remember those games. In FIFA 19, you compete with a 15k team with a top tier player, like a pro player, you will lose 90% of the time. You might get a win here and there, but you will lose just because of the balance of play. Even the top tier Elite 1 player, you would lose, like that FIFA 19 equivalent. But the Elite 2 players, you give them a good game, and most time on my skill level, I'll come up. Now, 20 was hard. 21 was harder. This game is pure pay to win. I would not recommend going to a cheap team. It's just going to cause you pain and misery. I'm saying this again, pain and misery. Will it help you get better at the game? Okay, maybe. But then we'll tone it down to maybe an average gold team, like a Lorente, like a Ben Yedder, like the cards like that are still really, really good. We're not going to go all the way down. We're going to go to players like Lorente. So maybe not team of the season, but we'll go to maybe gold Mbappe, gold Neymar, cards like that. Because I don't think it's worth even going to a gold team. Even if you're playing in FUT Champions and you're not playing in the Elite Division. Elite Division, don't even bother. And even in Division 4, I wouldn't bother either, because most casual players are not playing. And if you're like me, to be honest, this is one of my accounts. Of course, I have many accounts, many different divisions. You know, people come into my stream one time, like, oh, are you in Division 10? Because it's in my Division 10 account. But even me, I'm in Division 4. Why? Because I want to do these objectives. I don't want to go sweating out in the Elite Division. I want to have some fun. So I have this account on Division 4. Am I a Division 4 player? Of course I'm not. But that's what I'm trying to say. So don't put yourself at a complete disadvantage because you're not going to have fun in the game. So in my opinion, don't even bother going to a 15k or 100k gold team. But I would say tone it back down. So a gold team, I'll make maybe about 500k team. You can get good players like Neymar. You can get gold Mbappe. You can get Lorente. You can get Kante. Even you get really good players with a 500k team. Very, very, very good players. Even cheaper than that, to be honest. And that's when we'll tone it down together. But that is why the tactics also go with a team. So make sure you still use a team. Don't use because if you, even with, for example, a tactic like this, with long ball, trust me, when you use weaker team and try this out yourself, you're going to notice a big, big difference. So that's what I wanted to say. Just don't make the changes in regards to the team. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Gold De Gea should not be there, but I'm just testing him out because I have no money, and I made the biggest mistake of seeing Neymar collapse. Panicked, bought him for 1.2 million, I suppose you can say, rounded up. And now he sits swiftly at 300k. Swiftly went down, and I've got nothing else to say apart from I lost 1 million coins. Definitely not a menu streamer by that chance. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and of course, I'll catch you next time. Peace out.